So what if you also want to export to PowerPoint? If you want to export to PowerPoint, then just also follow the same approach that we have. You can do that with your flex table. Save as PPTX. This is it. You can also apply that if you want to save to PowerPoint. First of all, you give the name of your table. Let's say A, then the extension a.pptx. You can use the flex table directly to approach that. So let's load the required libraries, which is flex table, the officer package that we needs R, cable extra, GT, and dplyr. So I'm going to be creating a sample data set for demonstration, and we are going to be calculating percentage change. So we are going to create a new column called growth rate, which is the sales data in our sales in fourth quarter minus the sales in first quarter divided by the sales in first quarter times 100. So this is going to give us our growth rate, and I'm now going to run it. Okay, sorry, this should be, I think I've tampered with this. Then we run it. So if you check our sales data now, so you can see this is our sales data we have. This is the growth rate. So what we just did in the growth rate is that, okay, sorry, the growth rate I'm giving, I've made a mistake here. It shows be single column sales data. So this is the growth rate that we're having: 16.0, 14.3, 9.6 for each particular region. So these are our sales data. Now I want to create a presentation table of this particular data. So I'm going to be creating a function here. So this is just a function I'm creating using the flex table, and I'm going to be giving in my data. Or let me just maybe make it easy to understand. Let me just remove the function. I think that is going to make it easy to understand. And let me just make it like this. So let me just make the sales. This one should be sales data, our sales data, and I'm just going to be removing all of this. So let's just make this presentation table, and this one. So I think this is it. So now, first of all, we have our flex table sales data. So our sales data, we're going to make it a flex table. So you can see our sales data is now a flex table. Then next, to give it a theme, vanilla theme. So you can see this is the vanilla theme. Then we format the header. So the header, we are giving it this color. So the part of the header, we give it white and bold. So the background is going to be blue for the header. The color of text is going to be white, and we are going to make it bold. We're going to be doing that. See that what we have. Then next, we format numbers. So Q1 sales, we're going to be using the column format number function. The column format number function. Column format number is function is also part of the flex table. So these are functions. If you want to know which library a function belongs to, just check for the help on that function. You see the library it belongs to up here. So you can see for the column formats, this is it. You can see it here. So this is a way of checking which library a function belongs to. So it has an argument called J, where you specify your columns. So these are your columns that we have. And so what we are doing here now is that the Q1 says all of them are trying to give them a $sign. That's why using the column format number. So we're going to give all our columns here inside this J argument. Then we have the big dot mark, and we have the prefix. We're giving it a $sign. So when we run this now, you can see each of the values are now having a $sign. So this big dot mark is if your values don't actually have a comma, but they already have a comma before we did that. So that of the growth rate too, also we're going to give it the percentage sign. So we're giving the suffix argument of the column format number. So which means it's going to appear at the end of each value. So when we do that also, we're going to be having, you can see the percentage sign applied. And we're going to be aligning all our columns using the align function. So we're going to be aligning columns to the center, and we're going to be saying path is equals to all. Before you run this, ensure you have flex table here, because there are other packages that also have this particular name. So flex table for this align, so that you avoid error. You avoid any error in the names clashing. So we're going to be aligning center, and path is equals to all, so which means everything is going to be you can actually give body here or footer if you want your footer only or your header only to be center, but here we're applying it to everything. Paste it here, and case is already aligned. And to region, so we want this region to be aligned to the left. So you can see for the region now, we specify our J. You are specifying a particular column, you use the J arguments. The region, we are specifying our region, and for the align, we are aligning to the left and all of them. So all of the region. So once we just copy this, we are going to be seeing our region aligned to the left. So you can see our region aligned to the left. Earlier on it was aligned to the center, but now it's aligned to the left. We want to add borders. We want to add border, a black border of width is equals to 2, outer border. If we want to add an outer border, so we just copy this, and you can see we have already added an outer border, which is actually black. You want to see it clearly. And we can also add an inner border. So just go back to our previous code and paste this. So we're adding an inner border now. Okay, so let me just copy this. I don't know why it's been giving an error. So let's add an inner border. So this is an inner border. This is the inner border. We're adding a gray color as the inner border. If you look at it, it's somehow deep. Then another one also, another inner border. So this is another inner border too also. So the first inner border that we're adding H, then this one is what? V. So this is more or less like the column inner border. This is more or less like the row inner border. So if you look at it from the previous ones I've been doing, you can see that this one is not gray, but you can look at this, it's somehow gray. You can see now this one is for the columns. So this border inner H is for the rows, this border inner V is for the columns. Now we can now set our width. We can set our width. We pipe our width, so our width is going to be 1.2. You can make it less than that if you wish. And we want to add conditional formatting using the BG function. So this BG function, J is what? Growth rate. So we're going to be using the growth rate to add conditional formatting. So this BG function takes J, and which is our column, and it also can specify a function by saying BG is equal to function. So if else, this is where you specify a condition. If else x is greater than 10, then give it this particular green highlight. If else x is less than 0, then give it this particular highlight. If you look at this condition, you can see we have a nested condition here. So we have the if else, which is the main one. Then if else, then this happens, else, then what? So if else, first of all, if the growth rate is greater than 10, then you should give it a shade of green. But if it's not greater than 10, then check if it is less than 0. Then if it is less than 0, you give it a shade of pink. If not, give it a shade of white. So first of all, let me take it again. If it is greater than 10, you give it a shade of green. But if it's not that, then you check for this condition again. So if it's less than 0, you give it a shade of pink. Else you give it a shade of white. So this is our final formatting that we're applying on the table. When we do that now, you can see we have something like this. So you can see we have this, because all of them are actually greater than 10 except for this, which is 9.6%. If you want to export it to your PowerPoint, you just use that save as pptx I showed you. And if I go to my files, you can see it, presentation table.pptx. Once I open this file now, so you can see that what the presentation table is already appearing. So you can you can format it, you can edit it, so it's not as if it's an image. So it's something that's editable even on PowerPoint. So this is make it easy to take it to your PowerPoint.